actually enjoy treating your customers like a piece of shit, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Draft House. Okay? You know what? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to text in your little crappy-ass theater. It was too fucking dark in that place for me to find my seat, alright? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get to my fucking seat. So excuse me for using my phone in USA, the United States of America, where you are free to text in a theater. I was not aware that I couldn't text in your theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin, and no one ever gave a fuck about what I was doing on my fucking phone, all right? And it was on silent. It wasn't on loud. It wasn't bothering anybody. You guys, obviously, were being assholes to me, and I'm sure that's what you do, you know, to rip people off. You take my money, and then you throw me out. You know, I will never be coming back to your Alamo Draft House or whatever. I'd rather go to a regular theater where people are actually polite. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone about how you are. And I'm pretty sure you guys are being on purpose. So thanks for making me feel like a customer. Thanks for taking my money.
It's chocolate. You should be very proud, Detective.
Shut up.
You've made a delicious life for yourself.
Said shut the fudge up! Why?
You don't come near here. You stay away from here.
Here he comes.
What?
Are you listening, David? I was saying how much I admire you and your ice creams. You have incredible taste in fine ice creams.
What the fudge did you just say?
6 delicious flavors. They're so lovely. And once they're gone, David, they're gone.
David, step away from the prisoner. Step away, David. Step away.
What's in the box?
I'm not gonna tell you until
What's in the box? What's in the box?
We each have our weaknesses. And it appears that gluttony is my sin of choice. And you add the mystery. I couldn't resist.
What's in the malted fudging box?
It's empty, David. It's empty.
No. It was full. 6 delicious flavors. Only available this month.
I know. It was delivered to your home. It was delectable.
Do you think anybody's gonna get, like, offended by this?
Just tall white Karens.
Monotony. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Dull, tedious, just plain boring. But what is this? A contender, perhaps? Something unboring by the looks of it. Jabs right at dull, an uppercut to tedium, something that keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on a swivel. A knockout punch to your old, boring workouts. Welcome to Fight Camp.
The Greening the Gateway Cities program provides trees that are planted by DCR foresters and crews hired from local communities. When you sign up as a potential tree recipient, a forester will visit your home or business to determine the best location and species of tree for maximum energy efficiency. Easy care instructions are provided, and it's all free. Find out if you're in the zone and learn more at maurbancanopy.org.
If we're honest, who wants to roll less travel? It's harder to teach us. Who wants the difficult route?
If we support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come in here and keep our students safe.
People say, these students have changed. These students are lazy.
Your children aren't learning disability, they lazy.
Get students engaged so they don't want to skip class, so they want to be in their classrooms.
There are teachers in this profession who should not be teachers. There are teachers in this profession who don't care about children.
These students don't want to learn. No, the adults have changed. See, the parents don't have the back of the teachers.
He ain't slow. He ain't got no learning problem. His parents didn't give him a foundation.
Young people as a nation, we sorely need the depth and breadth of your intelligence, character, and also your clarity.
Think about, in particular, the history of people that look like me who are getting cheated.
So if you're asking me right now as an educator, what's wrong with these kids? There's nothing wrong with them.
Teachers are the most important people in the world.
They're whimpering in fear, and we're sitting here scared of them.
Because if they get it right, they'll change the world because they're in charge of the most important resource, and that's our children.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Doug. I'm the founder of FUBAR Studios Veteran Reinforcement. We would appreciate your consideration during the NASCAR Give-a-thon to donating to FUBAR Studios Veteran Reinforcement by supporting our mission to be able to keep continuing hosting events like Track Day for Veterans, where we're facilitating veterans, involving them into the races and interacting with the race teams. We are providing a therapeutic environment for these veterans that are struggling with PTSD and TBIs. So thank you.
Shaolin shadow boxing and the Wu-Tang sword style. If what you say is true, the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
On guard. I'll let you try my Wu-Tang style.
Same
with you. Same with you.
Get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, 2 Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. 2 Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, 2 lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Master Yoda I am. And listen you must to HulaZoo.com.
What y'all doing? Just step aside and let me on in now.
Why you need him to do that? You big and strong enough to push past us?
Well, that wouldn't be too polite now, would it, Miss Annie? I don't know why I'm talking to you anyway. Smoke.
Don't talk to him. You talking to me right now. Why you can't just walk your big ass up in here without an invite, huh? Go ahead. Admit to it.
Admit to what?
That you dead.
So you listening to this? Now we out here playing games, telling ghost stories in place of doing what we ought to do.
And what is it we supposed to be doing?
Being kind to one another. And being polite. Now we is one people, and we shouldn't go in barging into other folks' places uninvited, so... You've been in and out of here all day. Ain't never need an invite then. Yeah, something ain't adding up.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
You like some motherfucking action heroes in it.
Yeah. This is destiny. This is madness.
This is the booth.
Step into the twisted mind of my literature, designed to get into the depths of your mind, administer sickness around to mimic the likes of snuff cinema. What you must get into, you're nothing but pups. Remember you Homer and Happy Simpson, son. Nothing ithaca. Talkers like the northern half of Korea's peninsula. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister.
Friends, neighbors, proud Americans, we truly live in the greatest country in the world.
Rodeo cowboys are the epitome of freedom. We do what we want, when we want. This is America.
World champions just danced and the lights almost went out.
All right, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching the booth. We got a little sidetrack there, but hey, we are back on track. Our first guest is waiting in the wings with us. But first of all, I got to tell everybody who's tuning into the show, I want to thank all of our supporters. We see you from across the world. I want to thank my guests from last week. First Tuesdays, Kenneth Diesenhof and Robert Resnick, Colonel Robert Resnick, Army Colonel, for coming on here and hanging out with me for First Tuesdays. Check them out at the Corridor. Tonight, up in the upper left-hand corner, it is not Drafting the Circuits NASCAR race show. That's Wednesday night. That's tomorrow night. But this is a guy you see with me on that show talking NASCAR and F1. My special co-host tonight is Lee Vai. Lee, say hello.
What's going on, Sinista1? How you doing tonight, sir? Thank you for having me on board.
Bad.
Of course.
Not bad. This is a guy who's been covering this gentleman we are lucky to have on. Before I get into my sponsors, I got to introduce this guy for coming on in here with us.
Yeah.
Been covering it. Thank you, Police Officer Frank Zanowski, for introducing me to the sport of professional bull riding. Many years ago, we went down to Mohegan Sun. We covered this, and I fell in love with it. You know, I loved all these little Brazilian guys on these big ass bulls is what it was like when I went down there. And it's a great event. We've got Senior VP Robert Simpson on the show, the booth tonight.
Good to be here, guys.
Good stuff, man. And they got a big weekend, so we're going to really get into this tonight because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me talk about my sponsors. Michael Douglas Barreto, MDB Electronics. That's the guy, my Xbox controller. If it has a problem, you get it out to him. Back to 24, 48 hours, you're back to gaming. My artist, Viana Marie, whose music is streaming everywhere. Her new album comes out in August, but right now she's at 494,000 streams for her last project. Make sure to stream her music and get that out there. It's available now. Tactical Target Systems. When I'm at that range, I don't want to be dead in the first 5 minutes of the zombie apocalypse. I want to be able to handle myself. So Tactical Target Systems is where you get those targets from. And then I Love Boston Sports. Those are the shirts that you see, the Please Pritchard shirts and Pritch Please shirts and things of that sort. I Love Boston Sports. And then my artist, Viana Marie, is right there. Kimberly Ann, Empowerment Photography for Women. Reach out to her. And then Underwatch Protective Services. If you need any type of security, armed guards for your event, reach out to Underwatch Protective Services. And then my guy, childhood friend, call Larry, Handyman Services. That's the number right there. Reach out to him if you need anything done around the house. And before we get into our interview, again, people, Davinci Leonard. Leonardo Davinci is this kid's nickname he goes by, but it's Davinci Leonard, 22 years old. He is responsible for shooting 2 people outside of urban air a month ago. Look, the word on the street is that he shaved his hair off. He's still out there. Turn him in. This is going to run every show until he is turned in. There's no reason for it, people. This is a sad day in our community. Turn him in. And then today, we are blessed. We've got this guy on with us from the PBR, Senior VP Robert Simpson. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Let's go. What's going on?
Oh man, it's good to be here. We're like I said, we're going to talk about it, but we're right in the middle of the World Finals.
Awesome.
And so, we're going to crown a world champion this coming Sunday. But it's a marathon, and so we had our first 4 rounds of eliminations. So we had the top 45 guys in the world that descended on the Cowtown Coliseum, which is the old Coliseum in Fort Worth. And so this was kind of the separation stage, if you will. It's a progressive format, same format that we used last year, and I love it. Yeah, I love it. You better come and ride bulls. And if you ride bulls, you will advance. If you don't ride bulls, you will get cut and you will fall, and so it really separates, the cream of the crop. And so, the guys that's been dominating all season continued, right? They had some pretty good, but had a couple performances that past world champion coming on strong. So, I mean, the storylines that we have are just out of this world. So.
Yeah.
All right. And Lee Vai, who's up here in the upper level, who did a tremendous job. Me and Travis had been covering the PBR, but then Lee Vai says, "Hey, I'm a fan of the PBR." And I says, "Oh, really?" I says, "Well," "I've got invited to the New Hampshire show, but I can't go. I had to DJ." And I said, "Hey, Lee, you want to go up and cover the New Hampshire show for us?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, make sure you get this footage. Make sure you meet with Casey. Make sure you do this and that, and then get back to me and get me all the videos and stuff so we can." When this guy gave me the clips and interviews back, I was like, this guy loves PBR. He did a professional, super job. There was only a couple little things that I had to critique him on and told me just look at the kid. But this guy killed it, and he is here with us from here on out covering this PBR event. So, Lee, I'm going to let you take it away because you got some questions that you want to ask Mr. Simpson.
Sure. Mr. Simpson, again, thank you for joining us tonight. It's an honor to have you with us. I'm sure you are much warmer down there in Fort Worth than we are up here in New England.
It's been right hot today. I can tell
it was not hot here. I mean, it was warm, but it wasn't hot by any means. But I want to thank you, and we'll give our viewers a little bit of background here for you. So you, mass communications graduate from Colorado State University, Pueblo.
Yep.
And then after that, you pretty much moved right into Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Still an active association going on. You're with them for a couple years, and then you switched over to the National Reining Horses Association, if memory serves me right.
Actually, Lazy E.
It's Lazy E. Okay, Lazy E
in Oklahoma. Yep.
Lazy E is a big rodeo facility down there in Oklahoma City. One of the big jewels of the South. And so we like to say, when we talk rodeo, there's few places like Vegas is pretty popular on the list. Dallas, Fort Worth is big, and then Lazy E is pretty big in itself. It's one of the bigger joints down there in the South. So you did Lazy E, and then did you go to the reining horses?
The reining horse was more, kind of a 6-month stint when the ownership at Lazy E was changing over, and so kind of didn't know. I learned a lot in those 6 months that I was there. There's a whole other industry that's a whole other topic, right? Showing horses and reining in that sport. I mean, tremendous athletes, the horses, the trainers. Anyway, I learned a lot. But then I actually went back to Lazy E, and so. And then when we formed the Velocity Tour for the PBR, we had always done the PBRs right at Lazy E since 1994. And so once we were forming a new tour, that's when Sean called me and said, "Hey man, I need somebody to come run this tour." I'm like, "Cool, that's where home is Southern Colorado." And so I went back up there, and 11 years later, here I am.
Well, outstanding. Congratulations. I mean, the PBR is, for the fans that don't follow, PBR is probably the premier sport when it comes to Western lifestyle. They do focus on one specific event, and that's bull riding. That's their money draw, which outstanding. The other events that you see are Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. That's like team roping, saddle bronc, bareback, stuff like that. We call that the family rodeo. At least I did traditional rodeo, but the PBR took took the bull riding portion of that and turned it into what I would call a 5-star sporting event. Like Sinista1 said, I had the opportunity to go to Manchester in this past December. And I went to a PBR event in California a long, long time ago. I mean, this was probably 96-ish. So it was a wee bit ago. And it was just a bull riding thing. And now it is a showcase event. There's pyrotechnics, the music is contemporary, so to say, I guess is the right word.
Yeah.
And it's come a long way. And you've been for the better part of that, the number 2 in charge, I guess, for all of that. So that it's a great thing. And, it is an honor to have you here. And I think we need to just get down to brass tacks and talk about what happened last weekend and during eliminations and what we are going to see coming up here in this coming weekend, because it's not just bull riding that's going on this weekend. You got some other, like Detroit Cowboy that I heard coming to town.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just not bull riding, that's for sure. But the bull riding it is our world finals, and it actually started a week and a half ago in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yep.
And so we had the Velocity Tour finals, which is, the expansion series that we went to 31 cities across the country this year. And so that set of Cowboys rode down there, and then we plucked 5 out of there to come to World Finals. And so it actually kind of started there. From there, we actually co-produce and co-own Rodeo Corpus Christi, which is another big time rodeo that we actually put on CBS Sports or CBS Network. And so that special's coming. So it was a tape delay on that one, but so it kind of was that. Then we came to, of course, Cowtown Coliseum for the eliminations, 4 performances, top 45 in the world, like we had said. And out of those 4 performances, the aggregate on all 4, we take the top 15 in the world standings and the top 5 guys from that event. So if they're already not qualified in that top 15, we take the top 5 guys. So the whole riding your bulls and you better ride bulls to advance, that's kind of the concept. And so those 20 guys automatically punch their ticket to go compete at AT&T Stadium this coming weekend. And so the other guys, the 20 that did, or the 25 that didn't make it, was cut. So tomorrow night and Thursday, they have a chance to ride for redemption. And so, we got little catchy, good little catchphrases, but ride for redemption. So they have to literally ride their way back and finish in the top 5 of the next 2 days to advance to AT&T Stadium.
Okay.
So, it's a fittest of the fit. And so then we'll have 25 guys Saturday and Sunday. They'll ride twice a night. So there's 2 rounds on Saturday and 2 rounds on Sunday.
Yep.
And of course, the aggregate on those 4 rounds will be the finals champion. But then, of course, all the while, the world standings is being generated, and we will award the world champion and the $1 million bonus to that guy, whoever that ends up being at the end of Sunday.
That's going to be, and that's a big payout. $1 million
Oh, yeah.
is.
Yeah. Nothing else like it. Nothing else like it. Yep.
Nope. That is nothing to sneeze at.
We got some people in the chat. Frank Zanowski, who I talked about, the police officer from Brockton, who actually got me involved. He's in the chat. He said, "What's going on, sir?" Monkey Wrench Wellness, thank you for your service. Monkey Wrench Wellness, she is also in the chat. Thank you. And as you talk about the ride for redemption, these eliminations, I got a question. Let's get into, what stands in these guys' ways. Let's talk about these bucking bulls that are in their way. You've got the 2-time world champion bucking bull, Man-Hater, out there, and then you also have Magic Potion at 49, longest Buckoff streak in PBR history. And let's talk about these athletes, because I've said it before on this show. The bulls are the star of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they really are. And, the breeding programs over the last 10, 15 years, right, has just churned out the quality of bulls, to your point. Half the score is the bulls, And our fans, man, they love our riders, but they also love their bulls, and they know them by name. They know them. They can pick them out in the pen and say, that's Man Hater, that's, riding solo, that's all of them. And the infinity for the bulls is just amazing to watch, and it's so cool that people follow the bulls. They cheer for the bulls. I mean, they like to see the guys ride them, right? But they also love to see these, I don't even know what to call them, beasts. Just rattle these guys, right? I mean, and if you watch these rides, guys, in slow motion, I always like to tell people, watch the ride in slow motion. And if you see how high that bull and how hard that bull's bucking, and these guys are staying on, you tell me they're not an athlete, and tell me they're not, I mean, anyway, it's just, the bulls are definitely, definitely stars of the show. And we had them out twice, by the way, the real rank pin, this last weekend. And so our guys, we had some injuries over the last 4 days. And so a few of those guys aren't coming back. And then, John Krimber, is a little iffy for this coming weekend. He'll ride because he's a cowboy.
Oh yeah.
But, but he's sore and he's got a collarbone, and, so even though if they might not, just be real rank with them, they're still, sore, making them sore and pulling muscles. And, I mean, it's just, it's a weekly thing with these caliber bulls.
Yeah.
And you had, you had a couple of losses this year in regards to legends for the bull athletes. I believe you guys had just lost one of the bulls just before the, what's the show? Wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah. Airtime. Yep, Airtime ended up passing away. And he was in the early days of PBR. He was, he was the star of the show. Like you said, Mr. Simpson. Nobody, more people cheered for Airtime when he got drawn than the guy on the back.
Correct.
I mean, I remember kids, like, there was T-shirts. Like you don't see a bull's face on a T-shirt. I mean, that's a wrestling thing, Yeah. But I mean, they were the hot sellers back then. Everybody was Airtime this and Airtime that. He was like Airtime. He just he was incredible. And these guys nowadays, the bulls that you guys got, you follow you guys on Instagram, and some of the pictures that the photographers get are absolutely insane. Like,
did you ever think? You can see that.
Bushwhacker.
Would you ever think you'd see a Bushwhacker bobblehead?
Frank would want that. Frank Zanowski, who's in the chat watching, he's probably like, "Oh, dude, I want that." That was one of Frank's. So that's what
we're giving those away to ticket buyers, by the way, this coming weekend.
Oh, Frank's gonna be pissed. When Frank got me into watching PBR, Bushwhacker was that bull. When he got me into it, Bushwhacker was the bull. Bushwhacker was the Michael Jordan of the PBR at that time.
Yep.
And he told me all about that bull. Yep. I know Frank's in the chat. Wow, that's awesome. I like that one.
Bobblehead. I mean, it's just,
I mean, but the most I ever got, I had a bodacious belt buckle. Because when I was coming up, I mean, bodacious was, he was the bucking bull of the year in PRCA for generations. He was the most infamous ride in bull riding was bodacious and Tough Hedeman at the Cow Palace out in San Francisco. I mean, Tough ended up smashing his face into about a gajillion little pieces. So
that was an NFR. Yep.
NFR. So I mean, that was you get guys like Bushwhacker and Airtime and all these. Whew.
Frank's in the chat. Actually, he said the best of all time bull. Loving the conversation. So off the topic, because I got to segue to something quick though. About marketing and promotion of the PBR. One of the things we've noticed about when we go to your event is you guys do a lot about crowd interaction with your shows. I love it. You do one of the best out there. The belt buckles. We are so impressed by the belt buckles you guys give out. Who came up with that idea? Because it's impressive.
That's a great question. I mean, we've been giving out buckles. I mean, rodeo's been giving out buckles. I mean, since probably the Turtles Association.
Yeah, but yours isn't nothing. This isn't just a buckle. You guys.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the ultimate trophy. It's the ultimate cowboy wearing your pride on your person, Yeah. And that buckle, once you win that buckle, it's yours forever, and it's like a medal, it's like a gold medal in the Olympics,
Yeah.
That's what you strive for. The money and the fame and all that's all cool, but for a cowboy to win that buckle and it says champion, that's a different level.
Yep. And to see those fans when you guys do the fan of the night and you present them the belt buckles, I mean, the fans are just, I mean, they're as tickled pink as the riders are to be holding that little mahogany box with that, that silver and gold in there.
Right.
And Sinista1 and I, and then when I went to Manchester, we were both lucky enough to be kind of close to where the fan of the night was sitting. And it's really, I mean, it's just an impressive thing.
Yeah, we definitely take pride in it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So speaking of AT&T Stadium this weekend and fans, we've got en route to AT&T Stadium, we got Dalton Castle, Brandon Fielder, John Cribner. This little boy right here, he had a great weekend. Clay Geaton, holy smokes, his mom, I've never seen a mom on Mother's Day come unglued out of her chair like she did watching her son run that 90-point ride.
Yeah.
And then we've got the world champ, Jose Vitor Leme. He's just like,
And I tell you what, Lee, I even said it watching that last perf. I mean, and to your point, when 90 points is fourth place.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a bull riding, I mean, yeah. I mean, right. Man-hater gets covered. I mean, and just phenomenal. Jose though wins 197,000 over these last 4 days.
Yeah,
one event, and he seems, and if you notice his rides, he went 4 for 4.
Yep,
but he never moved out of the middle.
No,
I tell you what, Lee, he's been hurt. He's been hurt all year. But it looks like he is rounding, and if he gets on a heater, you could have your 3-time world champ right there. He could come and just make waves. I mean, he started out, I believe he was 18th or 20th place. He has now moved up to 6th.
Yeah.
With the last performance. And so literally I told everybody, I said, oh my gosh, they better watch out because Jose gets on a heater. I mean, they can't buck him off. And so I've never seen, never is a big word, but when he's on, he's as good as I've ever seen, in my career. And I've been doing this stuff 32 years, so good stuff.
Yep. And when I talk to fans and we talk on the podcast, I tell people that are not really familiar with the sport, like I can watch a rider come out and, I know a good ride when I see it just by watching what's going on. For the people that don't know and aren't really familiar with like what makes a good ride, I always tell people, watch the cowboys on the chutes.
Yep.
Watch the fellow riders, because if those riders if they are standing up and clapping and then they are losing their minds over what they're seeing on the floor, then it's a good ride.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw that a bunch this weekend. Like here's Clay. He goes out, pops a 90+ ride, and then Cribner turns around, and the first guy right behind him in the chute is Clay, rooting him on in his ear, screaming at him, "Go get it! Go get it! Go get it! Hit this bull!" And he goes out there and he crushes it. And Clay's behind the stands, absolutely losing his mind on what he's watching. And I mean, I say it all the time: watch what's going on behind the chutes. Watch the cowboys behind the chutes. When they start losing their minds, something good is about to happen.
Correct.
And that's the easiest way. So folks don't like I said, if you're not familiar with it, watch the bulls, but watch them folks behind them chutes, because they're going to be the telltales of what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's a brotherhood. Those guys. I mean, they compete every weekend. They competed against each other, but they're their biggest fans as well.
Yep. And the other guy that I really think is, and we talk about this not just here, we talk about this on another podcast that I do. Teams and individuals they climb that ladder and then they plateau. And right now, we just talked about Jose. He's climbing that ladder at the right time. Yep. Like, this is it. This is the point where you want to, you know, going into the finals is where you want to plateau. That's exactly where you want to do it. And he's timed it just right. And so if he plateaus this weekend, it's going to be tough for these fellow guys
You
to
ain't gonna buck him off. No.
Yeah, there's nothing. And my little dark horse is Caden Loud. Like, this guy, I saw him at Worcester, or no, at Manchester. Boy, howdy. This little, and I call them kids because they're kids to us, because they're in your 20s. You know, there's not many of us 50-plus-year-old riding bulls anymore. And if we are, we're super crazy to be doing it. But, you know, he's like my little dark horse. He's had a lot. He's strung a lot of good rides together. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got going for him. You know, and I'm glad to see him not having to fight his way back for the road to redemption. You know, and there's a couple guys in the road to redemption that I'm rooting for too. You know, that came off the Velocity Tour. You know, so I think it'll be a good thing. Yeah, I'm ready. I want to go. I want Friday and Saturday night to be here and Sunday to come so fast it's not even funny.
Yeah, and it's been a phenomenal season, to your point as well. I mean, we finished at 40% ride percentage for the entire Unleash the Beast season.
That's a good number.
Highest
That's
ever
a good number.
in history to finish at 40%. I mean, usually we're around 30, 35. But for those, I mean, that's riding 4 out of every 10 bulls every event. You know, that's great stuff. I mean, the guys have just as good as the bulls have gotten, and I've actually been worried over the last few years that we're outbreeding the riders, right, with the bulls and just the athletic ability of the bulls. But man, they showed up this year. I mean, bulls they haven't weakened, but the riders have, you know, raised their game substantially.
Yeah, and you all got a bunch of.
Hold on. While we're on the topic of bulls, while we're on the topics of bulls, can we talk about the stock contractor of the year, which Lee had in the notes?
Bring
this
that
would
up.
be a good segue for that. Yeah, this is a good time to bring that
up. So Blake Sharp is how many times?
3 times.
3 times.
This is his 3rd time winning it.
3-time stock contractor of the year for the PBR. Great dude. I mean, salt of the earth guy. Just do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? He's very humble, which love that. I love guys, you know, that, you know, understand, you know, what they're doing, you know, and what they're doing is really special. And so, he's and he's got a great pen of bulls, comes to a ton of events, and just a great representative for PBR.
Yeah, he was at both Manchester and Worcester. And, you know, I actually had a chance to talk to Mike Miller from Mike Miller Bucking Bulls. I had some time to chat with him. He's another super great contractor, you know, taking care of the Northeast up here and some East Coast stuff. But, you know, Blake had a pen of bulls both nights. And Blake was all over the place. And once you know who Blake is, you cannot get him out of here. You cannot get him out of your field of view. Like you sit there like I'm.
Not that he's a big guy, Lee. Not that he's a big guy, right?
He's a big guy, and he's all over the joint. Like he's climbing up chute gates, and you know, he's back there, and like it was like when you find out who he is, and he's like, I was like, oh yeah, that's Blake Sharp. He's one of the contractors, and he's just back and forth, jumping over the chutes, tying you know. Ropes on for these guys, making sure they're set just right, giving them a little advice in the ear, you know, hey, he's going to come out, giving them, you know, quick little pep talks, being that little stock contractor cheerleader, so to say. So to see him get number 3, I mean, it's an accomplishment, but I don't think it could have gone to a better guy. Real representative of the sport. He puts out a lot of great animals, great athletes. So yeah, and if he's got his pen ready to go this weekend, there's going to be a lot of hooting and hollering for his children, so to say, this weekend, because he's got a really great pen. He's got a great program too, great bucking program. So
correct.
Always good.
That's where it all starts. It starts at the ranch. Yep.
We actually got some questions. We actually got some questions for you, sir, in the chat from our watchers, our viewers, all these people watching live. This is great stuff. Frank is asking, What went into the decision to shorten the season prior to COVID? He said there was a summer break, and then the season would end in Vegas around October. So he's asking that question.
Yep. So the short answer to that is we launched PBR teams.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
So PBR teams, right? Year 3, year 4 for PBR teams. But anyway, so that's why we kind of ended up splitting the season, is that we wanted the team season not to overlap with the UTB and vice versa, right? And so pretty much once the World Finals ends in May, the team season starts.
Yep.
The first event in teams doesn't start till July. There's some other challenger events through the summer, but for the most part, those are all the kind of the outdoor events, the sanctioned events, and so forth. And but team starts in July and goes all the way through the end of October, and so that's the team season. And so the UTB, what started it all. So then we went from pretty much mid-November for the UTB to May. And so that's kind of the 2 seasons. And so that's short answer is that's kind of it. And then the World Finals, of course, moved out of Las Vegas to Texas. And so, Texas welcomed us with open arms and
of course,
phenomenal, right?
Of course.
And then, then the team season now ends in Las Vegas. And so still have 2 championship events, 2 wonderful locations with great partners.
Yeah. And we talk about, so like the other rodeo company in town, they have their national finals in December at the Thomas and Mack Center. And, I went to school at UNLV, and the Thomas and Mack Center is, what's the right word? Small. It's tiny. It is definitely not, AT&T Stadium. It is, it's a night and day difference. I mean, y'all are you're having your finals where the Cowboys play.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And it's a big
Jumbotron.
And I tell you what, Lee, it's AT&T, and we've had World Global Cups in AT&T. So we've been to AT&T a bunch, but the facility, the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas and all these beautiful stadiums, right? And all these but man, I've been to a lot of stadiums. Nothing still holds a candle to AT&T. The infrastructure, the size, the sheer mass, all of the inside guts that the public doesn't see. AT&T is just, it's a city. It's a city within, the confines. And so to do it there, it's a real treat. It really is.
So have you, as far as getting, because to put on one of these events is not a slouching thing. This takes tons of coordination. And I'm going to be cliche here. It takes tons of dirt.
Yep.
So has the PBR started to transform AT&T Stadium yet into what it's going to be this weekend? Have y'all started?
We started pretty much. The initial start was Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
With the rigging and the kind of stuff flying, and then yesterday we did the stage that we're going to use. So we're having Kid Rock as well on Friday night.
Yep.
So we built a massive stage, but then we also use the stage, for the PA system, the lights, the all the pyro, all of the special effects, the technical side. And so all that went in yesterday. We have dirt going in this afternoon. And so we got dump trucks going up and down. And to your point, it takes a lot of dirt to fill that bowl. And so, so the dirt's going in, steel will come in after that. So all of the buck and shoots, all of the perimeter fence and the holding pins and all of the infrastructure there. And then, so by the time we get to Thursday, Thursday is kind of a rehearsal day.
Yep.
And so hopefully everything should be up and ready and running by Thursday. And then Friday, we have Kid Rock Rodeo. And that's a whole nother subject, team rodeo. With of course Kid Rock being our front guy and his partner on it, and so been a great experience with him. So, and he's also in concert, with the rodeo. So it's kind of rodeo reimagined. Bob, but Kid Rock sings, and what I'm saying, puts on a full concert. We put on a full rodeo. It's a different format, and so we're, that's our next really big project is to get teams rodeo kind of off the ground, same way we did with PBR teams as well.
Yeah.
So, quick question. Now you mentioned Kid Rock. Have you guys ever had a chance to have anybody want to do a celebrity version of PBR yet? You know, I feel like that that hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
No, we haven't had a full event like that, but we have had celebrities wanting to get on bulls. You know.
Yep. I can think of one that was I think she was out in New Mexico just a couple weeks ago. Miss Holly Holm, MMA fighter. She spent the weekend, I think it was in Albuquerque, if I'm correct. Yep. She came in for the weekend to visit with PBR, and from what I can see, she absolutely fell in love with it. She cannot get that cowboy hat off the top of her head.
She's a big fan. Yep.
Oh yeah, yep.
Comes to Albuquerque every year. So
yeah,
good stuff. Yep. Yeah, and the celebrity following's getting bigger and bigger. By the way, I mean we got. Ocho Cinco tried to ride a bull. We put him on the back. Rob Gronkowski, you know, I mean, so it's but
so here's the funny thing about you talking about celebrities. I had my clap for PBR moment. I was watching WWE. It was a PLE, and they had Dalton and two other guys was at the WWE event, and I'm like, he was just on our show Tuesday, and I'm like, hey, they need to get more guys from the PBR at these WWE events, because these people be like, hey, who's these guys? And they'll tune in and start watching these guys. But they look like they was having a good time, though. It was great. It was great to see you guys there.
And it's funny you say that.
Uh-oh.
We just got acquired by TKO.
Oh, no way! What?
Yep. Yeah. So we've always been the parent company of Endeavor, right? UFC, WWE, IMG, WME, all of it was always underneath the Endeavor umbrella. So we were always part of the family, but not really. You know, now we're a family unit.
Wow.
So now, we are really joined at the hip per se with WWE and UFC. And so that event that you're talking about was kind of our first TKO takeover in Kansas City, where we had PBR Thursday, UFC Saturday, and then WWE on Monday. And so, so that's going forward. You're probably going to see more and more integration with all three brands.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, UFC is class among itself in mixed martial arts, and WWE is class among itself when it comes to sports entertainment. And then, the PBR is in a class by itself when it comes to, Western lifestyle sporting events. And I think it's I'm like, I wish you could see underneath my shirt. I got chicken skin going on like crazy, because it's just amazing to see this cross utilization of these three entities, and just that's amazing, Mr. Simpson. I think it's
gems. We're getting
That's
some
awesome.
gems tonight on this show. It's funny. It's funny too, because I'm up here in the Northeast, and the funny thing I get is from other black guys is, wow, you're a fan of the PBR, and I'm like, hey, don't sleep. This is so up here in the Northeast. It's like the USA's ignorance of world soccer. When you leave here, people don't realize how big soccer is, and I tell people, this is, hey, black people up here not liking rodeos and bull riding, it's because of the ignorance up here, because they've never seen it. I says, once you go down in the West Virginia and Virginias and down south, the African American support for rodeo and PBR is crazy. And I tell people, Texas, Frank Zanowski actually introduced me to a gentleman, and I forget the guy's name. Frank will probably drop in the chat, but this was a guy who knew a lot of people in the PBR, and he actually ran his own rodeo. His name was John, and I can't remember his last name, a black gentleman. He did a lot. He brought a lot of the Brazilians, and they came up here. They actually came up here and did an event. If Frank remembers the black gentleman's name who ran this and oversaw it, John, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, it's followed. For those who are tuning in and wondering, it's followed by a lot of black people once you go down south. So stop the ignorance, stop the hate. Learn, do
and I'll tell you right now, the music selection at a PBR event is not what you think it is. You are going to get mashups.
I know.
You are going to hear mashups of today's hottest
I love it. I love it because I'm a DJ on the side.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So I love hearing the stuff that they're doing, and it's great stuff. And since we're talking about the music and the entertainment part, you wanted to talk about the Entertainer of the Year.
Oh yeah, my buddy, Entertainer of the Year, Merritt, on his Instagram today, he goes and rings that bell. So today, Matt, congratulations, buddy. He rang the bell because he's officially, medically, been diagnosed as cancer-free. You have to go. Part of the treatment program is, you got X amount of years before you can actually call yourself in remission and cancer-free. And Matt rang that bell today. So, hats off to Matt. Super great guy. A lot of good conversations with Matt over the past couple of months, and I'm proud of you, buddy. And God bless, and I'm glad you're free. So good for you, pal.
Frank Zanowski said that gentleman's name is John Harp, Harp, John Harp.
Huh. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, cross utilization, is something else you guys got going, and that's coming up tomorrow night or tomorrow during the day. And this is another. And I don't want to. It's another great event, and that's the Women's Rodeo World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what this is, and typically, first of all, it's an $802,000 purse.
Pretty good
for these, like, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, that is the money for that is just like, I don't even know. So the women's rodeo, it's 4 events. They got team roping, there's heading and heeling, traditional barrel racing, roping, and then goat tying. And as a rodeo fan, this is great because I always thought women's rodeo deserved a bigger spotlight than they've gotten in the past.
Yep.
These female competitors doing these events, typically when you think of women rodeo riders, it's barrel racing. They don't understand tie down, breakaway roping. They don't, I when I left riding, I transitioned over to team roping. It was a little bit safer. I didn't get as many concussions, broken bones as I did in bull riding, bullfighting. And I lost my socks to more women team ropers than I did to the guys, because and I'm so happy to see that the PBR has teamed up with the women and are putting this championship on for $802,000.
Yeah, it's the richest week in women's sports. I mean, Western sports, right? And we came up with the concept. It was a collaborative, of course, but we've been doing it about 5 years now with the women's, and so every year it's grown a little bit more. And no, it's, to your point, about time to showcase. The athletes. We talk about the bull riders, and they're just as much as athletes as anybody else. And I tell you what, they can swing a rope, they can ride, they can do everything. And so to showcase them, on their own stage, for that kind of money, with world titles and the whole 9 yards, it's awesome. And then we've actually been competing the last 2 days with women's over in the Coliseum as well. And so we literally take it from a bull riding venue, transform it to a rodeo venue again, and then of course tomorrow night we'll transform it back to a bull riding venue. But all the preliminary rounds have happened over the last 3 days, and then we're also live on the Cowboy Channel as well with tomorrow. So the semifinals, that's going to be some really good watching. Those semifinal performances, man, those girls kick it into gear, and it's really good watching. Really competitive and so forth. And then Saturday night at AT&T Stadium, so the top competitors out of all these rounds get a chance to go and compete at AT&T Stadium. Wow. and do the finale. And so we'll actually have that in between the 2 rounds of the world finals. And so we literally put them on the biggest stage they're ever going to go on at AT&T. Yeah. And so wow, it's good stuff.
So we're up here. We're actually up on our time here with you. sir. So before we get out of here, we're gonna turn this. We're gonna let you just tell us what's in store for this weekend, real quick. I think we all want to know.
And if you don't mind, just touch on where our viewers can find y'all at. You know, you talked about the Cowboy Channel. There's there's a couple other venues, so that if you don't have the Cowboy Channel, you can tune in to watch.
So the best place to find us is the PBR app. Easy, free download. You can watch it. Everything's in real time on the PBR app. I mean, you can go to on demand and find old events and previous events. But when we're having a live performance, we're live on our app. And so PBR.com, just download the app. You guys, no reason to explain how to do that, but that's the best place. But then anywhere that has Ride Pass. So Ride Pass is our streaming platform. So we're now on Roku, Samsung, Apple TV, all of the different platforms that stream any kind of content. Just search Ride Pass, comes up, boom, you got it. And then our biggest thing over the last 5 months is YouTube. YouTube, we are just killing it on numbers of people watching on YouTube. And so, and so all those different platforms, it's the easiest thing to find or to watch. But that is probably the top places that come watch us for this weekend.
Okay. And so what do we got going on? We got, as you mentioned, Kid Rock Friday night.
Kid Rock's Rockin' Rodeo Friday night. We're going to start about 7:00 Central. And so that'll actually, we're airing that one on Fox Nation. And so that one will be going on Fox Nation. Same thing. If you got Fox Nation, you can watch it. If not, sign up and get Fox Nation. And so Kid Rock Rockin' Rodeo will go on Fox Nation. And like I said, it's team rodeo at its finest. New concept. If you haven't seen it, watch it, because especially if you're a rodeo fan, it is a totally different format. It's head to head. It's drag style competitors as well. So two calf ropers roping calves, 2 barrel races competing at the same time, drag strip type. So it's literally a red, yellow, green go, and it's head to head. Nobody else is doing that. And then they also competing as a team. Nobody else is doing that. And so this is the format, that's going to be pretty much setting the industry on its ear for the next few years. And so anyway, that's Friday night. And then Saturday, we got the World Finals, of course, rounds 1 and 2, and then the Women's Rodeo Championship, like we talked. We'll crown the champions there and then parlay all of those into Sunday. And then the Sunday is the last 2 rounds of World Finals. And like I said, going to crown a world champion, a finals champion, and give away a lot of money. And of course, that buckle we talked about, for, winning the world championship and $1 million. So really good stuff.
Awesome.
Wow. Great stuff. Everybody in the chat is saying thank you. Frank Zanowski says he gets all his content from YouTube. Travis Partington, thank you for your service. He says, I'm learning a lot right now. Anything you want to say before you want to close out? Thank you, sir, for coming on here.
Well, I appreciate the time, guys. It's been fun. I love this. I mean, it's fun, right? I mean, and the more people know, and especially in the Northeast, right?
Yep.
We have so many events up there. We love to go up there. The fan base up there is just, in the last 10 years, has exploded, and so we love coming to the Northeast. And catch a PBR when we come up there. There's plenty, guaranteed. So love.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in Manchester and then in Worcester. We'll definitely hook up. And it was an honor to have you on tonight, sir. It was great to get to know you and a little bit more about the organization. And these are words coming right from the bull's mouth. Like, it does not get any better than this. So
that's good.
Exactly.
Take care.
Thank you much.
All right, we'll do take a quick break. Okay. That was awesome. Yeah, Casey had hit me up. He had to get out of there.
Yeah. I think that's
All right, we're back here in the booth. That was a quick little break right there. I want to thank Robert Simpson, Senior Vice President of the PBR, for coming on the show. Casey Albert, thank you.
Thank you,
Look,
Casey.
we just had the Senior Vice President of PBR on the booth for close to 45 minutes. So when we turn around and DTC, Oscar, when we say, "What's your podcast,
doing?"
We mean it. We mean that shit.
I other than that popular podcast guy from Austin, Texas, I won't mention any names. Where else do you get to see the senior vice president of one of the biggest sports in the country on a podcast talking to two dudes from New England?
And look, here's the funny thing too. 2 years ago, this is a guy, Lee, who was introduced to me. And again, Lee, what is going through your head 2 years in of doing this podcast thing and the people that you've been able to...
Never in a million years where I thought I would have been sitting here talking to the senior vice president, general manager of the PBR. That is for sure. Never would have thought I would have been talking to Matt Hagan, 4-time NHRA drag racing champion, Don Cusick, an Indy racing car team owner, two superstars in an up-and-coming racing series for Mazda. Like, never in a gajillion years. Never would have thought.
Stingray Rob.
Never would have thought about it. Never.
Monster Truck.
Bryce Kenny.
And Lee's like me. Lee's a guy in his younger days. He was doing the radio, community college stuff, things like that. And here you are. You actually ran into somebody at one of our events that you was doing this early stuff early on. Yep. And you said it. You were like, dude, I if you had told me that I would be at a PBR event with a press media pass, it twice in a year is crazy.
Never would have happened. Yeah, never would have thunk it. So
craziness. So we are at 7:51. Who do you like for this weekend? I got to ask you, who do you like for this weekend before we get off the topic of PBR? Who do you think's taking home that championship?
Oh, there's no. So the odds are on Jose. He just, like we talked about, he's peaking at the right time. When he is on his game, it is very difficult for him to come off a bowl before 8 seconds. He's watching him on social media. He's very, I don't know. He's brought it up. He's brought in a different gear right now. After last weekend, that gear, he pulled them 490 plus rides in 2 days. That's his next level. So he's my primary, and like I said, Loud is probably going to be my dark horse. I really think that kid's got a lot of pure raw talent in his hand and his riding ability, and I expect to see a lot of good things from him. But yeah, Jose Lemmy's he's the kid. I don't think there's going to be, if he's on his game, there ain't many that are going to be able to beat that guy. Just doesn't happen. So
nice. I myself am going to be looking forward. And when I saw him come out of that elimination, I said, this is going to be the guy. Like you said, he's peaking at that time. And this is going to be the guy that's going to be the one to beat. Like I said, my eye was on these bulls, the bull athletes too, because, like we said, Magic Potion is on a tear also. So, to hear that he was ridden, like
got
said,
covered.
90s was the typical score. You usually don't see that. So these guys they're all dialed in. They're all dialed in for this weekend. So it's going to be great. And like you said, we've got the women. They're going to put on their show and then close out on Saturday. And then
I'm really proud to
be crazy.
Proud to see the PBR not helping, but co-sponsoring the women's events. These women rodeo athletes, in my mind, they just don't get enough recognition that they should. They're athletes as well, and in many respects, in regards, they're better athletes than a lot of the guys are. like in team roping and stuff like that. So to see a a 6-figure purse, almost 7-figure purse going to these ladies for a weekend's worth of work, pretty much 5 days worth of work. That's just incredible, and I think it's going to be great for the sport. They're going to be on that national stage come Saturday between the events. Yeah, you just can't beat it. So I think that'll be really good for them.
Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of people in the chat hanging out. What's going on? Frank Zanowski says that was crazy. And hey, when do you get a senior VP to come on and break the news that the organization's been acquired by TKO WWE?
I know.
On the show. I'm like, bruh.
It's incredible.
Just drop the gem. That's a reel. So, I gotta cut that little segment out and put that as a reel and just put it out there and put the logos and all that because I was not expecting.
I did not expect to hear that come out of his mouth. That he said they were underneath the Endeavor umbrella, but to now go be part of TKO. I don't even know.
Going to see a lot more PBR guys on WWE PLEs and Raw and SmackDown, so that's great stuff for them.
Yep.
We got about 4 minutes left. Shit, I got a couple of topics just wanted to mention. I kept the topics light tonight because we knew we had a senior VP coming on at the last minute. I'm like, hey, I called Lee up and like, we got to get this going.
Yep.
So
we got to go.
Let's see here. We got 4 minutes left. Let me just get into this quick entertainment booth. He's in the chat, everybody, in the entertainment booth. Travis Partington, he's in the chat right now. Big ups to Travis. FeedSpot, which is a podcasting website server. FeedSpot did their annual top 100 veterans podcasts in the nation on their site. Big ups to Travis Partington. Guess what, people? He is ranked number 6 veterans podcast out of 100 on FeedSpot. Let's go! What's your podcast doing, bro? Come on! Stop messing with Sinista1 Productions here. Come on, son. This dude's put in hard work, 9 years, 500th episode next year. Travis is very, very, I'm going to just drop the F on. Travis is fucking humble as fuck.
Yeah,
when it comes to the hard work that he puts in. This guy is doing it. A lot of people come and go in this podcast world. Come and go. Come and go. Travis has been putting the work in. Travis has been doing it. And now he's been ranked number 6 out of 100 veteran podcasts on FeedSpot. So, shit.
That's awesome.
Clap him up. He's in the chat, people. Drop your congrats. He's in the chat watching the show. That was the only thing I wanted to mention in the entertainment booth. Let's get into the sports booth. We got 2 minutes left. In the sports booth last night, tragic. Celtics lose game 4. And not only did they lose game 4, they lose Jason Tatum. Ruptured Achilles. That's done. That's a wrap. That's no coming back this season. That's a wrap. Ruptured Achilles is done. You can say they might have people step up, but you can't. You can't replace those points and grit and determination lost right there. It's a wrap. The Celtics may win a couple of clutch, that survival mode game, but I don't see them taking this series now. I just don't. This is tough.
I hate to see an injury go to happen like that. I mean, a ruptured Achilles is absolutely no joke. But the only good thing is it happened when it happened. I mean, if this was like game 2 or 3 of the season, we wouldn't be watching the Celtics right now.
Exactly.
Our season would have been over at game 4. And I don't want to say this in a negative way. I know he's going to be back. He's there's no doubt about that. I just I don't want to see him hurt, but I'm glad it happened when it happened and not at the beginning of the season. And if that's
Yeah,
being a selfish fan, then so be it. But
ruptured Achilles are like an ACL. Like I tell people, when football players tear an ACL, they're never right. It takes 2 years, even though they get cleared to come back to play. They still come back and play kind of soft until they can really feel good about themselves. So usually I tell people, okay, he's back, but he ain't going to be 100% until next season. So he underwent surgery today. So that's a good thing. He underwent surgery today to, the rehab and all of that. He may miss half of next season. Who knows? But he's a young guy.
Yep.
Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's a tragic, tragic loss in the sports booth. Also in the sports booth, big news, breaking news before we came on the air, and I had to get this one in. Man, oh man. Major League Baseball lifts the ban on deceased players. About 10 players have had their names lifted, the ban from. And two of the names that stick out the most is Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose, and Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson.
My opinion on this is, I think when this next round of deceased players, I think both these guys are going in the first round. I think both guys are in the MLB Hall of Fame in the first round. Charlie Hustle, he was very humble about being banned when the topic came up, and he was always asked. He was very humble about it. He never strayed away from what he did. He admitted, he lived up to it. And a lot of people, to be honest, said, hey, this guy is admitting what he did. He's not pulling any punches. He should be in. But still, the writers denied him his right to be in that Hall of Fame. Some people are going to say, well, that's kind of a coward way out to put him in now because he's dead. Look, the fact that he's getting in is he's getting in and he deserves it. So I could care less that he's already deceased. The fact is Charlie Hustle should be in there. He's one of the most earliest players that I knew growing up and watching baseball. So I agree with it. I'm happy with it. And, Shoeless Joe Jackson, I agree with that one too.
Yeah.
And
Pete Rose, when that happened with Pete Rose, that was, the eras were different. Stuff like that was taboo. And, to the point it still is today, but I think a lot of people's opinions change over time. I mean, 30 years ago, you never would have thought that, we'd have medical cannabis and recreational cannabis available in states. It just was never, it was unheard of. And the same thing, Pete Rose, he bet on baseball. That's bad. He got a lifetime ban. But, man, times have changed. People's perceptions of I don't want to say crimes, but things of that nature have definitely changed over the years.
Let's just say, when you have professional sports teams in Vegas now, and ESPN buys a betting website now, and you're now bombarded with betting on every sporting show on television. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's also the hypocriticalness of the situation. And I'm not. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother topic that I don't want to get into because I'm hating sports because of that reason right now. I remember when the whole UNLV thing went down. Every team pulled out of Vegas, and there was no more teams in Vegas because of the UNLV scandal. Now all of a sudden it's okay to have teams in stop it. Don't get me started. That's a whole nother topic. So it's 8:03. Let me get ready to get out of here. Here are the banners for upcoming events. Those are the hats, the beanies that everybody has been helping out, and they're already gone. I've got some hoodies and shirts that I'm going to be giving out. These are the shows I produce. Draft the Circuits tomorrow night. Oscar Mike Radio I co-produce. That's on Thursday night. Matty C Sports on Sundays. Fubar Studios Homeland Heroes Salute is on Wednesdays. And then Turnbuckle's Spilt Liquor. That's on tomorrow night. We're going to do that tomorrow night. We lost Sabu. Famous wrestler passed away. Friday nights, karaoke. Yeah, it was horrible. Karaoke, first Fridays, Brockton Beer Company. Brockton Beer Company also open for lunch and dinner. Kids eat free. Also, Emerge Career. Emerge Career, if you've gone to jail and you've got all your cases cleared up and you're done, please visit Emerge Career. They are helping incarcerated people get their CDL license. This is a big deal, people. This is a real good way to get your foot in the door of getting a job. And then, to be honest, guys, if you're getting into this is a way to get your own truck and become an independent trucker once you get that CDL. So, guys, the sky's the limit. NAP Sunday Wake and Bake, 20% off for pre-rolls. Bishop's Training, Stay Young Fitness. That's my guy, Lionel Young. He does this free Saturday program for kids to get them in shape. And then the 5th annual Northeast Slingshot Meet and Greet, that was canceled on the 3rd, and then it was canceled on the 10th. So hopefully that will be back next year. And then big difference to donate to NASCAR Give-a-thon for the next 2 days. Please donate to the NASCAR Give-a-thon. Fubar Studios will have their ad running tomorrow on Sirius. Also, Bike with Bat on May 15th. Make sure to go down and see Sebastian St. Hubert. He's going to be trying to break that world. He's going to be trying to set the world's record to go from Boston Commons on his bike to New York City's Times Square in 10 hours. Not my legs.
Nope.
Not my legs.
I don't even think I could do that in a car.
Kite and Bike Festival takes place on the 17th. Also, Moses Rodriguez kickoff campaign event is May 23rd. But Moses Rodriguez, who's running for mayor of Brockton, will be on this show next Tuesday night. And then the save the date, the first annual Book and Ice Cream Festival will take place at the Dr. Ellie Paris Ice Cream Social Spot. Juneteenth is Saturday, June 14th. Vianna Marie, she's going to be performing there at the Brockton Fairgrounds from 12 to 6. And then we have Free Warrior Yoga. She's in the chat. I believe Monkey Wrench Wellness was in the chat every other Wednesday. 2 are left, May 14th, 28th, 11th, and 25th of June. Bat buses are free until June 30th. So please take advantage of that. That's quickly approaching, and I think it's going to get extended too. And then Run the Home Base. This is for veterans at Fenway Park. 5K walk or 9K. Are you doing it?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I signed up. It's always been a bucket list item. I'm obviously a huge Red Sox fan. I've got tattoos of them, so always something I've wanted to do. And the company I work for is the prime sponsor for the event this year. That's RTX, Raytheon Technologies. So I will be part of the RTX team this year with the 5K Run to Home Base. So looking forward to it.
Actually, Frank Zanowski says, send me the info, please. So I think that's on the Vets Run. So, Frank, I'll send you the flyer. And then Moses Rodriguez, again, he's candidate for mayor. He's going to be on this show next week. Jamal Brathwaite. Hey, anybody who's running for office here in Brockton, you don't pay me to get your banner up. You just say, hey, Keith, I want to put my banner up so people know I'm running. Yep, we got you. We put you on here. And that's how you get on here. There's no nepotism or favoritism or, this is what we want to do. We want to make sure people are aware. Because the last thing I want to hear is people say, well, I didn't know who to vote for or things of that sort. So yeah. Frank, I'll get that info to you for the, I'm sure Frank is he talking about the run out of Fenway, Frank, or are you talking about the NASCAR Give-a-thon for veterans? Let me know, Frank, and I'll get both of those to you. But before we get out of here, it's 8:08. Look, we got... Bro. We had Senior Vice President Robert Simpson of PBR on this show tonight. And guess what? Tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Drafting the Circuits. We've got Don Kuzik of Kuzik Motorsports coming on to talk about how he's getting his team and everybody ready for the Indy 500.
It's an Indy car owner.
Stop messing with us,
What are we doing?
Stop messing with us.
Don't fuck with me, fellas.
Gonna be off the chain tomorrow night again. 2 in a row.
This is crazy, bro. Craziness.
The week after that, drafting the Circuits. One of the top drivers in the MX5 Cup.
Sally
coming
Mott.
on. Sally Mott. Yep. One of the stars of the hit TV show Drive to First.
First to the finish. First to the finish on Prime.
Yep.
Prime Video. So
Craziness.
we got... Stop it, people. Stop! Y'all keep messing with us, bro. When I say what's your podcast doing, it's for real. It's for real. This ain't no fly by night tippy toe shit. Okay. Oh. He said, can you say, oh, nope. I completely was wrong about the info. Frank Zanowski wants the information for, okay. Yep. I can help him with that. Yep. That's good to know. So I'll help him with that. Felicia is in the chat. Sorry, I'm late. She says, hello, Lee and Keith. Thank you for tuning in. Late is fine too. And my dog is already ready to go out. Lee, let him know.
What's your podcast doing?
Talk about, before we get out of here, talk about your truck real quick and mention that, because I did have the little flyer before the little video.
Cat Provisions, Coffee Truck. Check us out. We're on Facebook. Busy summer. So appreciate the support. And thanks, Keith, for having me on tonight. It was awesome talking with Mr. Simpson. It's just another one off the bucket list, that's for sure.
This is it's so, again, Travis is coming up on 500 episodes next year. He's in his 9th year. We've got Driving the Circuits, been going on for over and like I said again, Lee Vai's a guy that just got involved with this sport, and he's been the 2 PBR. It's just been and we're loving it, and we've got big things coming. Me and Lee have been talking about some things behind the scenes, and if things go the way it goes, we've got some stuff, and man, good stuff. But thank you, Casey of PBR, for hooking us up at the last minute and reaching out to us to get vice president. Craziness, bro. That's like getting Roger Goodell before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep. I don't understand it, but hey, it's not for me to understand or question. It's just for me to do.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff. So hey, everybody, make sure to tune in tomorrow night. Drafting the Circuits is going to be off the chain tomorrow night with Don Kuzik heading into Indy 500. You know, this is the biggest race of all time. You know, this
next 2 weeks are absolutely. This is next 2 weeks in motorsports, especially in Indy, is this is our lifeblood in the racing community. We Indy, the lead up into the Indy 500. Just next 2 weeks is going to be crazy, and to have a team owner come onto the show and chat with us and give us some behind the scenes stuff is going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, great stuff. So hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. This is what I tell everybody: if you missed it, go on to Spotify, YouTube. All the shows are there. You can listen to old shows. You can listen to past shows. I started uploading old shows when Frank Zanowski was on the show with me and Ken, way back shows, some really old shows. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And Lee, again, thank you for, coming on at the last minute. Great stuff, good stuff. It was funny because we did have a moment because Lee sent me a picture and he says, hey, can you put my name on this? And I was so busy trying to get everything ready at the last minute because we had the senior VP coming on. And I'm sitting there going on and on. And then all of a sudden, you ever get that moment where something clicks and says, oh, he's looking for a backdrop with his name on it like he has on Drafting the Circus. Here I am. Yeah. I'm overthinking the shit out of it, which is one of my that's one of my bad things. Sometimes I overthink. And it's just something simple. And that's all he wanted, was just the backdrop with his name on it. So it was great stuff, man. Good. It was a good laugh in our private chat.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, buddy.
Because it clicked. Like, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is what...
I was at the point I was so frustrated. I said, listen, it'll work. I don't care. We're going to run with it. It's not the end. We're going to be just fine. We got bigger things to do. And then he's all like, oh, this is what
I'm up here making ads for the guy. But hey, we got to get out of here. Good
all
stuff. Right, SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinista1 production hosted by Sinista1.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I make it, bitch, don't repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, but y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak assholes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, it's like I'm my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's whoobazoo.com.
Enter website, enter website, enter website, enter website.